Hey yogis, and welcome to this session focused all around the piriformis. Some of you will know immediately what that means and you'll be like, yes, thank you, I really need this. And others of you will have no idea what I'm talking about, and that's okay as well. So the piriformis is a muscle that sits at the top of the femur and it deals with our external rotation. So imagine my hand is forward like this. We'll just pretend that this is my leg. And if I want to externally rotate, I point my toes out towards the side. But if I want to internally rotate, I point my toes inwards. Now, our anatomies are all different, so some people will have a preference where they find the external rotation very easy and the internal rotation may be more difficult, or vice versa. So please don't worry if you're finding all of these postures quite challenging today. It may be that you have more of an external rotation preference. With the piriformis, sometimes it can get quite tight, and because the sciatic nerve can run either underneath or even through the piriformis, if the piriformis is tight, that can cause people to feel sciatic pain. So this is a really good one to work into if that feels like that might be something that is affecting you and your practice today. But there also are a number of causes for sciatic pain, so it might not necessarily be that. So because the piriformis deals with the external rotation of the leg, today what we're going to do is work on our internal rotation postures to help to stretch and alleviate some of that tension. I've got a couple of blocks with me. You can use a rolled up towel as well to work into this. And a lot of the poses are, of course, internally rotated. So please do take it at your level. My body very much preferences internal rotation. So don't worry if you're not going quite as deep as I am in these postures. So we're going to start off in a seated position, just taking the legs out in front of you. From here, we're going to take one leg on top of the other and then start to take the knees on top of one another. Maybe this is enough for you here and you want to fold forward with the leg like this. Or otherwise, maybe you feel comfortable to take both legs folded and you can work into your posture from here. So this is our cow face pose. Now I've got my feet close to my body, but they're not touching. And some people, especially if you prefer more of the external rotation, you might feel happier with the feet a little bit further away, or even the feet with the shins more parallel to the edge of the mat. For me, this doesn't feel very comfortable, so I'm going to take my posture back here. So finding the one that works best for you, and either staying sitting upright, or you can fold forwards. So just take a few moments, breathe into this one, take it at your pace. Maybe we're doing a fold forwards. And just easing into this one nice and gently. Just alleviating any tension from the hips. If this does feel too far, again, you can also sit your hips up on a block. Or maybe 2 blocks, and this can help to take a bit of pressure off. So do adapt it as much as you need to. Only staying here for about another 3 breaths. So maybe seeing if you can find space to go a little bit further for the last breath. And then gently find your way back into the center, and we'll do the other side. So if you're just doing the top leg and we want to switch over, and again you can do just the top leg here and work on this side. Again, you can prop up a block underneath you, or working into the posture here, taking the feet wider or closer as you need to. And you might find that one side feels a bit different to the other, that one side might feel a bit tighter, so that's okay. Just working with whatever you need, even if you need props here and you didn't on the last side, or vice versa. Finding your way into your fold, if you're folding, or just staying upright. And gently breathing into this one. Only taking about another 3 breaths here, so if you'd like to go a little bit further, go ahead. Otherwise, just stay exactly as you are. Whenever you're ready, just gently release, and coming up towards the center, release the legs, hug the knees in towards the chest. For the next posture, we're working into a spinal twist. There are a few ways to do this, so build it up as works best for you. I'm going to take my right leg, bending it in so the foot is flat to the floor, and maybe I want to stay here and work into my spinal twist this way. Otherwise, maybe I can step the foot up and over, and if that doesn't work, just take it back to this one, as with all levels. Maybe you want to go further from here. You can lift up the hip, bend the leg, and sit back down. So I'm not sitting on this foot, but my foot is near to my hip. From here, I grow my body nice and tall, and either I wrap my arm around the front of the shin and take the hand behind me, or I can take the elbow on the outside of the knee, and that can help me to get a bit more leverage to open up and twist a bit deeper. If the bind is in your practice, you can take the bind as well. And thinking about lengthening on your inhale and twisting on your exhale. So taking a few breaths here as we work into this posture. Holding it for 3. Holding it for 2. And 1. Gently make your way back through the center, and we'll do the twist to the other direction. So keeping the legs exactly the same as you had them, bringing the right elbow inside the right knee now, and maybe dropping the hand down to the hip, or you can keep it lifted if you like. And again, every inhale thinking about lengthening. Every exhale thinking about twisting. Hold it here just a few moments. And whenever you're ready, you can gently find your way back into the center. We'll uncross the legs and redo it in the other direction. So maybe you start here or build it up and make this posture feel more comfortable for you. And we start off taking the elbow on the opposite side of the knee, or if that's too much, we're holding here. Now, the knee and shoulder relationship can mean that the knee is a little bit lower down or a little higher up, depending on the length of this femur. So if you can't get this because your elbow is slipping off because your knee is lower down than mine, then this is a great alternative. So choosing your pose, again, if you want to go for the bind, go ahead. And lengthening on the inhale and twisting on the exhale. Holding it for 3. Holding it for 2. And 1. Inhale, gently release, come back to the center. Keep the legs as they are, and we're working into our twist in the opposite direction. Taking a few breaths here. I'm sort of pushing my elbow against my knee to allow me to get a bit more leverage into this twist. Then whenever you're ready, gently come back towards the center and release through the legs. For the next one, we're working into our Virasana or hero's pose, which again requires quite a lot of internal rotation. Now, I would recommend having 1 or 2 blocks so that you can lift the hips up a bit higher. So I take my blocks behind me. I'm going to come to an all-fours position and take 1 foot either side of the blocks. My knees are together, but I take the feet out to the side, and then I sit the hips back onto my blocks. So I can even lift up and roll my calves out the way as I sit down, and maybe this is good for you, maybe this is enough. If 2 blocks is too much, you can sit down onto 1 block. If 1 block again just doesn't really feel like it's doing much for you, you can take it all the way down. You could also do this 1 leg at a time if you prefer, so having 1 leg straight out in front of you. And in this posture, I want my knees close together, but if that's not accessible for you, taking the knees more to a hip distance apart position can be better for you, so try that as well. Otherwise, we're working with the knees together, and you can stay in an upright seated position here, or maybe take the hands behind you and start to recline a little. Maybe bring in the elbows and the forearms down to the floor. And I want to keep my knees down to the floor instead of lifting them up this way. So keeping everything nice and aligned here. Or if I feel comfortable to, I can lie all the way down on my back. So finding this position, we don't want any pain in the knees or in the ankles here. We're predominantly feeling this into maybe the hips, maybe the quads. So taking a moment to adapt this pose however you need to today. And then gently sinking into it. Maybe close the eyes if you want to. Connect with your breath here. As you allow these muscles to start to open up. So if you're doing 1 leg at a time, you can switch them over Remember, staying upright is totally fine as well. You don't need to be reclined back. We're about halfway through now, so just enjoying the final few moments left in this posture. We're about halfway there now, so just enjoying the final few moments left in this posture. Taking a few breaths. And then whenever you're ready, just gently releasing and find yourself back up to a comfortable seated position. We're going to release the legs, so unfolding them, give your legs a little shake if you need to. So next we're going to work into our Garudasana pose, which requires quite a bit of internal rotation. Now this pose you might have seen as a balance before, or you may have seen it incorporated with Garudasana arms as well, or in various different places. Today we're going to do it as a reclined variation. So we're going to lie on the back. Either you're going to cross one knee over the other, and maybe this is enough for you, you can stay here. If this is too much, you can ease off by creating a bit more of a gap between the knees. Or if you want to go even further than that, you lift the feet off the floor and wrap that top leg around the bottom, around the calf area. So if that's enough for you, you can totally stay here working into this pose. Or if you'd like to incorporate a spinal twist, lift the knees off the floor, bring the knees roughly in line with the navel, and then take the knees up and over. You can use a block to help bring the knees into support, and take the arms out to the side, looking in the opposite direction to your knees. So taking a few moments in this posture, allowing it to become comfortable for you, stacking it up as much as you need to. And so here I've got my right leg on top and I've taken my knees over to the left. I'm gazing in the opposite direction to my knees, just so I can bring that spinal twist all the way to the crown of the head. So taking a few moments in this posture. And if any of these feel like they're really alleviating your symptoms, you're enjoying these poses, feel free to pause the video and spend a little bit longer there. Otherwise, whenever you're ready, you can find your way back into the center, uncross the legs, recross them in the other direction, and then take the knees up and over, working into your spinal twist in the opposite direction. So again, if you want to, you can keep the gaze up towards the ceiling, or just looking into the opposite direction of the knees. Whenever you're ready, you can find your way back in towards the center, uncross the legs, and now take the feet about as wide as the mat, and just allow the knees to drop in to support one another here. You can hold onto the elbow above the head if you like, and just relax into this one. So this can be a nice variation of our Shavasana, which takes a bit of pressure off the lower back, but also allows us to work into that internal rotation of the femur. So you can stay here for as long as you'd like to, or whenever you're ready to break the pose, just lift the knees, hug the knees in towards the chest, lift the chin up, gently rock up and down the length of the spine until you come to sit. So thank you so much for joining me for this practice today. I really hope it helped you, get you a bit more opening up into the piriformis area, relieve a bit of tightness, and possibly ease off some sciatic pain. And I'll see you guys on another video soon.